Hello and welcome to the June 2014 Paper 2 answers. This is the practice exam paper that was given to students in February, and it's the paper where you can use your calculator. As usual, the shortcuts on YouTube that takes you straight to the questions are on the left and right of this front page. Merely select the question you're interested in and the video will jump to that question. Please remember that if you're doing it on a mobile version of YouTube, for example on your mobile phone or iPad, you will not see the shortcut buttons. Okay, let's start the paper with question 1. The table shows some information about 5 students, and we're required to be able to read the table to pull out the relevant information. So 1A, write down Liam's favourite subject. So Liam is here, his favourite subject is French. So the answer for 1 mark is French. 1B, write down the name of the oldest student. Well, looking down the ages, the oldest student is Ella at 16 years old, and that's worth a mark. Question 1C. Write down the name of the female student who is 15 years old. So again, we need to go down the age column and pull out the fact that Liam is male, however Penny is female, and therefore Penny is the answer to this question. Question 2, part A. In the space below, draw a straight line that is 10 centimeters long. So for this, we'll need our ruler. So put your ruler in the space, and then using the ruler and a pencil, draw a line that is 10 centimeters long. Question 2B. Mark with a cross the midpoint of the line below. So if we measure the line using our ruler, we can see that the line is 7.5 centimeters long. So if you've got 7.5, using your calculator, divide it by 2, and it tells you that your line, or the center of your line, is at 3.75 centimeters. So 3.5675. So a cross at the halfway point gets you 1 mark. Question 2C. On the diagram, draw a radius of the circle. So the radius goes from the center of the circle to the circumference, which is the outside of the circle. So we draw a straight line from the center to the edge. And that is worth 1 mark. Finally, on the diagram, measure the angle M. For this, you need your protractor. So grab your protractor and move it across so that the crosshairs are on the center of the angle and that 0 is lined up with the bottom line here. And now we just need to read off the angle. So as we go around 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 73 degrees, but anything between 71 and 75 degrees would get you the mark. Question 3. Edwin goes to a restaurant with some friends. Here are the meals they have: fish and chips, chicken and chips, roast lamb and pudding. Edwin pays for the meals with 3 £20 notes. How much change should Edwin get? So using our calculator, we can say £9.25 times 2 gives us the cost of the fish and chips. That's £18.50. Roast chicken is £9.50. The roast lamb is £10.55. And 4 puddings at £4.55 gives us £18.20. And we need to add these together. So don't take any chances, use your calculator. And that comes to £56.75. He pays with 3 £20 notes, so he pays with £60. And we need to take our £56.75 off this to find out our answer. And that gives us £3.25. Show the examiner what you're putting in your calculator and how you get your answers. So the marks are for the working out. And the correct answer on the answer line is £3.25. Question 4. Work out the number that is halfway between 2.9 and 3.6. So a quick and easy way of doing this is to take one from the other. So take away 2.9 from your 3.6 and it will tell you how big your gap is. Again, use your calculator, don't take any chances. The answer is 0.7. So to find our answer halfway between them, we need to add a half of 0.7 to our lower number. So 0.7 divided by 2 gives us 0.35. So if we add 0.35 to the 2.9 that we already have, it tells us that the halfway point is 3.25. And 3.25 goes on the answer line. Question 5. 28,569 people watch a football match. Write the number to the nearest 100. So I'm interested in hundreds, so the 5 is the hundreds, and my decision whether to stick or twist depends on the next number along. Because the next number along is 5 or above, then the 5 will become a 6. So it becomes 28, 6, and then zeros for the other numbers. So 28,600 is the answer. 5b. Write the value of the 2 in the number 28,569. So you can write it in as a number, it's worth 20,000, or you can put it in words. Part C. Work out the number of males if 5,619 of the total are female. So show the examiner what we're doing. 28,569 minus 5,619. Do this on your calculator. 22950. So the correct answer is 22950, and that's worth a mark. Question 6. The table shows the name of 5 of Janet's friends. The boys are Dodie, James and William, and the girls are Anna and Michelle. Janet is going to play a team game. She chooses one of the boys and one of the girls to be in her team. Write down all the possible combinations Janet can choose. So basically, Janet can choose Dodie and Anna, or Dodie and Michelle. He can choose James and Anna, or James and Michelle. And finally, William and Anna, or William and Michelle. So there are 6 combinations in all, and this is worth 2 marks. Question 7. Here are some triangles drawn on a grid. Two of the triangles are congruent. So that's one of our buzzwords, congruent. Write down the letters of these two triangles. Congruent means it's the same shape exactly, but in a different place. So you're looking for two triangles that have the same shape. And here, there's nothing like B or F or E or A, so it must be C and D. And if you check it, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So C and D are the same. One of the triangles is an enlargement of triangle A. Write down the letter of this triangle. So A is 1 by 2, so we're looking for something that multiplies 1 and 2 by the same amount. So if we look at D, it's got 2 and 3, so they're not multiplied by the same amount. But if we look at F, it's 2 by 4. So the 1 is multiplied by 2, and the 2 is multiplied by 2. So F is the triangle that is an enlargement of A. And the scale factor, because we've gone from 1 to 2 and 2 to 4, the scale factor of the enlargement is 2. Question 8 shows a square of sides 3 by 3, and it's made from 9 squares of 1 centimetre each. How many more squares, that's in block capitals, of side 1 centimetre are needed to make a square of side 6 centimetres? Well, all you need to do is create that square. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I've made my square up. How many extra squares did I need to make this new square of 6 by 6? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So 27 additional squares are needed to make our biggest square. Question 10 shows a triangular tile, and it's part of a sequence of tiles. So pattern number 1 has 1 tile, pattern number 2 has 4 tiles. So we've increased it by 3. So our rule is +3 for that particular pattern. From pattern 2 to pattern 3, we've got our 4 tiles, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 9 tiles in total. So we've added 5 this time. How many of the tiles are needed to make pattern number 7? So if 1 has 1, 2 has 4, and 3 has 9, we're adding 3, 5. We add 7 for pattern number 4, which is 16. For pattern number 5, we add 9, which is 25. For pattern number 6, we add 11, which is 36. And for pattern number 7 that we're interested in, we add another 13, which is 49. So pattern number 7 has 49 tiles. Question number 9. Sarah wants a music magazine each month for a year. She can either pay £3.50 each month or buy it for the full year at £37.20. Sarah pays the £37.20 for the year, but how much cheaper is this than paying the £3.50 each month? So nice and straightforward. If it's £3.50 each month, we multiply it by the 12 months, it tells us, and doing this on our calculator, it would cost her £42. So if we take off the £37.20 that she actually paid, doing it on our calculator, it's £4.80 cheaper. So how much cheaper is it? It's £4.80 cheaper buying it for the year. Question number 10. Here is a list of numbers. Find the median. Okay, so the first rule of finding a median is to put the numbers in order. So my first number is 11, my second is 12, and I have another 12 and another 12. Then I have a 13, I have no 14s, but I have two 15s. Then I've got no 16s, but I do have a 17, no 18s, but a 19. So the numbers are now in order. Now to find the median, there are two possible methods. One for an odd set and the other for an even set. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. So with 9 numbers, there's only one middle number. So when we divide 9 by 2, it gives us 4.5, and we round it up to number 5 is the center of our 9 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 13 is the middle number of these 9 numbers when put in order. So 13 goes on the answer line. Question 11a. On the grid, draw a kite. So a kite has adjacent sides that are the same length, and the other side should be a different length, something along those lines. On the grid, draw a rectangle of perimeter of 14 centimeters. So the two sides have to add up to 7. So as long as these two sides are different, so for example 4 and 3, then our rectangle will have a perimeter of 14 centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And of course in the exam you'd use a pencil and a ruler to do it slightly neater than I have. Continuing question 11, here is a hexagon. Draw all the lines of symmetry on this hexagon. There are just the two lines of symmetry, one that goes through the center and one that goes from the top to the bottom. And there are the two lines of symmetry on this particular hexagon. Okay, question 12. Angie's organising a party for 84 adults and 42 children. At 8 o'clock, all the adults and all the children will sit down at tables for a meal, and there are 6 people at each table. Work out the number of seats and the number of tables Angie will need. Well, the number of seats is the total number of people, so it's 84 adults plus 42 children. Don't take any chances, put it in your calculator, and you will get 126 seats will be required. So that's the first answer on the answer line. And now, if each table takes 6 people, we have to have 126 and divide it by 6 to work out how many tables we need. And again, put this on a calculator. And it comes out to exactly 21. So we need 21 tables. Each adult meal will cost £4.50. Each child meal will cost £2.50. Angie has £500 to pay for the meals. Does Angie have enough money to pay for the meals for the 84 adults and 42 children? And show all of your working out. Well, if we have £4.50 and 84 adults, it's £4.50 times the 84 tells us the cost of the adults. Again, take no chances, put it in your calculator. £378. The cost of the children is £2.50, and multiply this by the 42 children, and that will give you the cost of the children. That's £105. Now add the two together, and it comes to £483. So does Angie have enough money? Well, she's got £500. We know it costs £483. If we do this quickly on our calculator, we can see she has enough money and £17 left over. Question 13. The diagram shows a garden with 4 flower beds. The garden is a rectangle 23 meters by 17 meters. Each flower bed is a rectangle with the same length side and the same width. Work out the length and the width of the flower bed. Okay, let's work out the width. We have 23 meters across, and we have gaps of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters. So we've got 5 meters in gaps. So 23 minus the 5 gives us 18 meters. Okay, so the 18 meters divided equally between the 1, 2, 3, 4 flower beds is 4.5 meters in width for each flower bed. So the width is 4.5 meters. Now let's look at the length. We know the length of the flower bed is 17 meters, and we have to take off 2 meters in gaps or spaces between the border and the flower bed. So that leaves us with 15 meters, and that's it. The distance from there to there is 15 meters. So the length of our flower bed is 15 meters. Question 14. Here is a triangular prism. For this prism, write down the number of edges. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 edges. So we have 9 edges. How many faces? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. So the number of faces is 5. Here is a net of the triangular prism. The net is folded to make the prism. One other point meets at point P. Mark this point on the net with the letter P. So when we fold this up and we start folding things together, P will end up touching this corner up here. So this is where you would mark your letter P. Question 15. Here is a list of numbers. From the list, write down a factor of 6. So a factor goes into something. So either the numbers 2 or 3 would be a correct answer for a factor of 6. A multiple of 6, well, multiples you multiply. So 6, 12, 18, 24. So either 12 or 24 would be the correct answers for this question. Demelza says all prime numbers are odd. She's wrong. Explain why. Well, prime numbers are numbers only divisible by 1 in themselves, but the first prime number, so the first prime, is the number 2, and 2 is even. So this proves that Demelza is wrong. Question 16. Write down the coordinates of point S. So to do our coordinates, the x coordinate first, so we go across. So it's 1, and then the y coordinate 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 4 is the correct answer for the point S. The coordinates of the point T are minus 3, 2. Because it's minus, from here we go left, 1, 2, 3, and then we go up 2. So point T is here. Write down an equation for the line L. So this is our line L going vertically through the number 3. So when we have a vertical line, it means x has a value, and the value is 3. So anywhere on that line, x has a value of 3. Question 17. Chris works in a cafe. At noon one day, he records the number of customers sitting at each table in the cafe. Work out the total number of tables in the cafe. Well, this tells us the number of tables in the cafe, so we just need to add these up. 4 and 5 is 9, and 10 is 19, 26, 29, 30. So there are 30 tables in the cafe. Work out the total number of customers sitting at the tables in the cafe. Well, in order to do this, we have to multiply the number of customers sitting at the table by the number of tables. So there are no customers at 4 tables, which means there are no customers. There's one set of customers sitting at 5 tables, so there are 5 customers. There are 2 customers sitting on 10 tables, so that's 20 customers. 3 customers at 7 tables is 21. 4 customers at 3 tables is another 12. And then there are 5 customers sitting on one particular table, and that's another 5. So the total number of people sitting at our tables is 5 plus 20 plus 21 plus 12 plus 5. Take no chances, do this on your calculator, and you will get 63 people. So the correct number of people in the cafe is 63. Part C, we need to work out the mean number of customers sitting at a table. Well, we have 63 customers sitting at 30 tables. Again, put this in your calculator and you get exactly 2.1 customers per table. Question 18 shows a conversion graph between pounds and South African rand. Joe is asked to change £200 into rand. How many rand does she get? Well, we need to draw a line between £200 and where it crosses our line and read across to rand. So from £200, draw a straight line up and it hits our graph. And then from where it hits our graph, we draw the line across and it hits the rand at 2,600 rand. So the correct answer, 2,600 rand, is £200. The next part, Simon has £100 and 3,700 rand. He goes to the shop where he can spend both pounds and rand. He wants to buy a computer, a watch, and a camera, or one of each of them. Which of these items can he afford to buy? You must show clearly how you get your answer. Well, the key to this is converting 3,700 rand back into pounds. And to do this, we need to go back to our graph. 3,700 rand. Now, our scale only goes up to 3,400, so we can do this in one of several ways. You can split this into 2 nice easy numbers that we can read off from our chart. So let's just say we have 2,600 rand, which we know is £200 from earlier. And if we take that away, that leaves 1,100 rand. So all we need to do is go to our graph and read off 1,100 rand to work out what it is in pounds. So 1,100 rand is halfway between 1,000 and 1,200. So we draw a line across, and then from where it cuts our graph, we draw a line down. And reading our graph, each of these smaller sections is £20, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divisions for our £20. So each small division is £4. So we have 86 pounds roughly for our 1,100 rand. So our 3,700 rand is worth 286 pounds. So now we can go back to the second part of the question with our 286 pounds, which is our 3,700 rand, plus our £100 we have in UK cash already. Add them together and we have £386. So clearly, Simon can afford the computer or the camera. He cannot afford the watch. Question 19. Martin wants to find out the type of transport people use to get to work. Design a suitable table, so this is a table, for a data collection sheet he could use. So you could ask the question, what type of transport do you use to get to work? And then in here you could have the type, a tally, and the frequency, which is the maths word for account. So you can have car, bus, walk, or other mode. And then when people fill it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and you have a frequency of 7. Okay, so that is a suitable table for data collection. Question 20. A factory makes 1,500 cans per minute. The factory makes cans for 8 hours each day. Each can is filled with 330 milliliters of Coke. How much cola is needed to fill all the cans that are made each day? Give your answer in liters. Okay, the first thing to find out is how many cans we produce each day. So if it's 15 cans per minute and we multiply this by 60, it'll tell us how many cans we have per hour. Again, using our calculator, it tells us that that's 90,000 cans per hour. The factory makes these for 8 hours a day, so we have 90,000 and multiply it by 8 hours. It tells us that there are 720,000 cans a day produced at the factory. Each can is filled with 330 milliliters. So we have our 720,000 cans and we fill it with 330 milliliters of Coke. So we have to multiply the 720,000 by 330. This gives us a rather large number of 237,600,000 milliliters of Coke every day. Now, we have to go from milliliters to liters, so there is 1,000 milliliters to every liter. So we're going from a small value to a big, so we need to divide by 1,000. So 237,600,000 divided by 1,000 gives us 237,600 litres of Coke required each day. Question 21. Here are two fractions, 2/3 and 7/8. Which of these fractions has a value closer to 3/4? You must show clearly how you get your answer. Well, there are two ways of doing this. The first way is to use equivalents and make them all the same denominator. So I have 2/3 and I can make it something over 24 because 3 and 8 have 24 in common. So to get from 3 to 24, I've multiplied it by 8. So I have to do the same to the numerator. So 2 times 8 gives me 16 over 24. 16 over 24 is exactly the same amount as 2/3, just written in a different way. Now let's look at 7/8. Again, if we make it something over 24, our denominator is 24, I've multiplied it by 3. And if I do the same to the numerator, 7 times 3 is 21. So 7/8 is exactly the same amount as 21 over 24. Luckily for us, 3/4, the denominator of 24, suits us as well, because 4 goes into 24 exactly 6 times. So if we do the same to the numerator and multiply it by 6, 18 over 24 is exactly the same fraction as 3/4. Now we can see clearly that what is the closest number to 18? Well, 21 is 3 away and 16 is only 2 away. So 2/3 is closer. Some of you had remembered that 2/3 means 2 is divided by 3 and did it by calculator. When you do this, you need to remember that your output on the calculator is 0.6 with a little dot above it. That means it's recurring. It means it's 0.666666 and it goes on forever. Some of you forgot this because when you divided 7 by 8, you got 0.875, and you all knew that 3/4 was 0.75. Now, some of you who didn't realise that this was reoccurring thought that 7/8 was closer because it was 1.2 away. Now, if you have the 0.66 and compare it to 0.75, then it's 0.09. So this one is actually closer. If you didn't remember that it had the little recurring symbol and you took 0.6 away from 0.75, then you thought it was further away, it was 0.15 away, and an awful lot of you didn't spot the recurring dot on your calculators. So 2/3 is actually closer to 3/4 than 7/8. Anna drives 45 miles from her home to a meeting, and there's her travel graph. Her meeting lasts for 1 hour. She then drives home at a steady speed of 30 miles per hour with no stops. Complete the travel graph to show this information. Well, the first thing we need to show is that she didn't go anywhere for 1 hour because she was in a meeting. So from where the graph ends, for 1 hour, we need to put a horizontal line. Then, to show 30 miles an hour for the return, we need to show that in 1 hour, so from here to here is 1 hour, she does 30 miles. Well, these are gradients of 5, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So your straight line for the return journey goes from where the meeting finishes through this point here all the way home. Question 23. Work out the value of 3.1 to the power 4. So you need to put into your calculator 3.1 with a power of 4. This means if you were doing it longhand, 3.1 times 3.1 times 3.1 times 3.1. That's what 3.1 to the power 4 means. When you press equals, it will give you 92.3521. Question 23b. Simplify p cubed raised to the power of 2. Well, when you have something raised to the power of 2, we need to multiply these values. So it becomes p to the power 6 because 3 times 2 is 6. Part C. Simplify t to the power 8 over t to the power 3. Well, it's just the same as t to the power 8 divided by t to the power 3. When you have your powers like this, you subtract them. So 8 minus 3 is 5. So t to the power 5 is the correct answer. Part D. 2 cubed times 2 to the power n equals 2 to the power 9. Well, if we've got 2 to the power 3 times 2 to the power n and it equals 2 to the power 9, these two numbers, when you're multiplying these powers in the same base, can be added. So something added to 3 gives you 9. So it's 6. The value of n is 6. Miss Phillips needs to decide when to have the school sports day, and she uses a table to show the number of students who will be there on each of the 4 days and the number of teachers available to help out. For every 12 students at the sports day, there must be at least 1 teacher to help. So which days can she do the sports days? So let's do each of the days in turn. If we look at Tuesday, we have 179 students. So if we divide this by 12, because we need a teacher for every 12 students, it tells us how many teachers we need. So 179 divided by 12 equals 14.916 recurring teachers. Well, we have 15, so we can have the sports day on Tuesday. Let's do the same for Wednesday. We have 162 students and we divide it by the 12 teachers that we need for those students. And that gives us 13.5 teachers required. Well, we've only got 13 and we need over 13, so we can't do the sports day on a Wednesday. Let's look at Thursday. We have 170 students. Divide it by the 12 that we need for every teacher. And that gives us 14.16 recurring teachers required. So it's over 14 and we only have 14. So we can't do the sports day on Thursday. Finally, Friday, we have 143 students. Divide it by the 12 students per teacher. And we have 11.916 recurring teachers required. Well, we've got 12 available, so we could have the sports day on Friday. So Tuesday and Friday are suitable. Question 25 shows a table of average temperatures on 7 days and the number of units of gas people use to heat the house on those days. So we have units of gas on the y-axis and the average temperature across the x-axis. And it's asking us in part A to complete the scatter graph to show the information in the table. The first 5 points are plotted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have been plotted. So the first one we need to plot is a temperature of 12 and units of gas 6. So we put a little cross there. The second one is a temperature of 13, which is here, and the units of gas is 2. So we put a little cross there. And that's our 1 mark for part A. Describe the relationship between the average temperature and the number of units of gas used. So what we're looking at is a scatter graph. So if we put in a line of best fit, we can see clearly that we have negative correlation. If you don't use these exact words, you can describe it that the hotter the day, the less gas is used. That's saying the same thing, but not using the keywords of negative correlation. And you would get the marks for that as well. Question 25, part C, asks us to estimate the average temperature on a day when 12 units of gas are used. And there are 2 marks for this. So the first mark is actually for something we've already done, which is our line of best fit. The next thing we have to do is read off 12 units of gas. So 12 units of gas, read across on the graph and work out what the temperature was on that day. And when we do that, we get a temperature of around 6.4 degrees. Because the line of best fit is different for everybody, they will in the marking schedule give you a mark for any temperature between 5 and 7 degrees C, providing you've shown that you've used your line of best fit to get that reading. Question 26. Solve 3p plus 4 equals 6. This is a pretty standard 2-step equation. Step 1 is to remove the other term. So to get rid of plus 4, we minus 4, and what we do to one side, we need to do to the other. The 4's cancel each other out, so on the left-hand side, we're left with 3p, and that is equal to 6 minus 4, which is 2. 3p means 3 times p, so the opposite of multiplying something by 3 is to divide it by 3, and what we do to one side, we do to the other. So 3 divided by 3 cancels each other out, leaving us p on the left-hand side. 2 divided by 3 is 2 over 3. That's what it means as a fraction. 2 is being divided by 3. So you can leave it as this. So P equals 2 over 3. Part B shows that minus 5 is less than y, and y is less than or equal to 0, and y is an integer. Write down all the possible values of y. Well, an integer is a number, whole number, that is either positive or negative. So working from the center and looking at y is greater than minus 5. So if we draw our number line and we have minus 5, to be greater than minus 5, it can be minus 4. Now, because we haven't got an equal sign on this particular sign here, it can't be minus 5. So our first number is minus 4. On the right-hand side, it says it can be 0. So our value for y goes all the way up to here. So minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. And then the last thing we have to ask ourselves is, can y be 0? Well, because of this equal sign, then yes, it can. So 0 is the final value. So all the possible values for y are minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, and 0. Question 27. X equals 0.7. Work out the value of x plus 1 squared divided by 2x. Write down all the figures on your calculator display. So just replace the letter x for the number 0.7 and rewrite what you have. So 0.7 plus 1 squared all over 2 times 0.7. And show the examiner what you're doing at each stage. So this becomes 1.7 squared divided by 1.4. 1.7 squared means 1.7 times 1.7 divided by 1.4. Put this into your calculator and you get 2.064, and the 4 has a little dot above it, 28571, and the 1 has a little dot. And that means it recurs between the 428,571, 428,571, and so on. Question 28 shows a trapezium. The length of A to D is x centimeters. B to C is the same, so this is x centimeters. A to B is twice the distance of A to D, so twice the distance means 2 lots of x, 2x. And D to C is 4 centimeters longer than AB. Well, AB is 2x, and 4 centimeters longer means we need to add 4 to it. The question is asking us for the perimeter of the trapezium is 38. Work out the length of A to D. So the perimeter means adding up all of our sides. So A to D, this side here, is x, plus this side here is 2x, plus this side here, which is another x. And then as we come back, our final length is 2x plus 4. Now this can be simplified because we have the same terms. X plus 2x plus x plus 2x is 6x. There are 6 x's plus 4. And it tells us that the perimeter is 38. And lo and behold, we have a two-step equation to solve. So step 1, take away 4 from both sides. This leaves 6x on the left and 34 on the right. To get x on its own, it's being multiplied by 6, so we divide by 6. And what we do to one side, we do to the other. So x equals 34 divided by 6. And that gives us 5.6 recurring. So the length of x, our side AD, which is what we were asked, is 5.6 recurring. Final question, question number 29. And part A, we need to work out the length of the side AB. And we have a right angled triangle. So whenever you have a right angled triangle, alarm bells start sounding whenever you need to find a missing side, because that is Pythagoras' theorem. Because what he said is the two smaller sides, when squared and added together, is the same as our hypotenuse, which is opposite our right angle. So we can use Pythagoras to work out the length of A to B. The smaller sides are 32 and 24, so 32 squared plus 24 squared equals our hypotenuse squared. So putting this in our calculator, 32 squared is 1024, 24 squared is 576, and that's still equal to the hypotenuse squared. Add these two together and you get 1600 equals c squared. So that's the hypotenuse squared. We need to get c on its own, so we do the opposite. So at the moment it's being squared, so we need to square root it. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So the square root of 1600 is 40, and that gives us the length of the hypotenuse C. So the length of AB is 40 centimeters. Part B shows that Indapal is making two mirrors. Mirror A is a circle and mirror B is an isosceles triangle. And we need to buy metal strips to put around the edge of both the mirrors. Each length of meter of the metal strip costs £5.68. Work out the total amount Indapal pays and you must show your working out. So the first thing to do is to work out how much of the strip we need for each of the shapes. So starting off with the mirror, we need to work out the perimeter of the circle. Now the perimeter of a circle is called the circumference, and that is equal to pi times the diameter. So pi is 3.142 and the diameter we've been given is 60 centimeters. So the distance around this particular mirror is 3.142 times 60. And that gives us 188.52 centimeters. To find the distance around the mirror of mirror B, it's slightly more difficult. Because we've been given the base of 48 centimeters and the height of 32, we don't know the length of the two sides that have the same length on our isosceles triangle. So again, we need to use Pythagoras. We have 32 centimeters as a height, but 24 centimeters is the base of one of these right-angled triangles. Now, from the previous question, we had a right-angled triangle with a height of 32 and a base of 24. A height of 32 and a base of 24. So we know that the hypotenuse is 40. We don't have to work it out again. So the missing side is 40. And this side is the same length as this side, so that's 40. So the distance or the perimeter of our isosceles triangle is 40 plus 40 plus 48. And that gives us 128 centimeters. Add this to the 188.52 centimeters that we had for the other mirror, and we get a total, when put into our calculators, of 316.52 centimeters. That is how much of the metal strip that we need. So how much do we need? Well, this is in centimeters and it's sold in 1 meter lengths. So if we go from centimeters to meters, we need to divide the value by 100. So we have 3.1652 meters of metal strip that we need. Because the metal strip is only sold in 1 meter lengths, if we buy 3 meters, we won't have enough to go around the mirrors. So we need to go up to the next whole number, which is 4 meters. And at £5.68 gives us £22 £72 is the cost. So work out the amount Interpal pays. It would be £22.72. This has been an Archie the Pooch production. I hope this video has been of use to you and that you can see where you went wrong in the questions you got wrong or didn't answer.